Beautiful, mate. Beautiful.
Yeah.
That's all I like my stuff doing now. Weather's been epic though, hasn't it? Which is good.
It now does feel like the new norm. I mean, I think that the period of like confusion and weirdness is worn off. Like just driving around and no one being about, seeing no one. It just feels kind of normal now, in a nice way.
Yeah, I've got weirdly quite not I want to say loads of stuff, but it's not like it was loads of stuff, but loads of stuff for this worldview on next week. So I feel people have bedded in now. They've had Easter and figured out what off is and how
Yeah.
different it is from not being off. Do you know what I mean?
Mm,
I think they're all right, but I've got like 3 or 4 things every day, which is new,
yeah.
exciting.
What is interesting, like chatting to loads of people now, is how everyone is in such a different situation, good and bad. Some people are lonely, got no one to talk to, too much time in hands. Some people haven't got any at all. Young kids, old kids, no kids. Everyone's got their own little thing going on, which is interesting. No one's in the same boat, if you know what I mean.
No, no, it's like it's that's what I had a chat with somebody last week about whether I wanted to do a talk on whether people should be marketing or not, and I was like, well, it depends on where they are in the world. Like,
Mm,
there's not one rule of how to deal well with lockdown. Like, it differs from household to household, doesn't it?
yeah,
Do you know what
does.
I mean? Like my dad loves being on his own and has been on his own for donkeys. He's not feeling much different apart from people having less interaction with him. He's having the time of his life. Bless him.
Mm, yeah.
It's like, oh, why do you keep ringing me so often? I'm like, well, because we're in a thing, Dad. No, I'm all
Yeah,
right. I was like, all right.
I think
But
if you're, I'm assuming your dad's retired.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think if you're retired and you're just, at this time, with the sun being out, most people are just going to be chilling in their gardens anyway. I suppose when shit gets real is when you go down the supermarket, or that still feels really weird.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. I don't super mind it in the supermarket. People really got on my nerves, and like nobody had lane discipline in the supermarket before. I think
yeah,
lane discipline in supermarket is it's good. It's a good thing.
yeah,
I think we need to keep that. I love a lane discipline. I don't want to be reached over by some tracksuited overweight lady
yeah.
to get stuff. Do you know what I mean?
And moving around the aisles like IKEA, you know what I mean? Just there's a clear path. If you've forgotten your tinned butter beans, it's tough shit. You've got to carry on going.
That's it. I don't want like I think there should be stricter enforcement of the one way direction in supermarkets.
Yeah.
It's a bit lax in places in my local one, and I'm not, I have to resort to stern glares at the pensioners who are just not paying any attention at all
Yeah. And
and
the and
going
the
back
people
them.
and then people that bring all their kids as well. They've got 3 or 4 children. It's a day out, and just
Yeah.
to let them run round and do what they want. Those days are over. I'm happy about that actually.
Yeah, yeah. Like supermarkets are strictly do it yourself, right? And in do it
Yeah.
yourself kind of business models, you need no friction at all. You need to get in and get out. You don't need service. You just need frictionless experience,
Yeah.
right? And it should just be that. But people don't make it easy.
Well, we mentioned earlier about people being in different boats. So I did a
Yeah,
Zoom call with my mates that I grew up with on
yeah,
Friday night. Some living in London, some living in all over down south.
yeah,
Some that I think they've had the coronavirus, and all sorts of different stories. People working part time, full time. But my friend from Sweden, he's British, but he lives in Sweden. And we were sort of asking him about what's going on over there. And he said, restaurants still open, bars still open. All they've done in the restaurants is just like remove a table so you're a bit further apart. And they have closed schools and colleges there. And I was saying, well, things sound all right then. But he said, no, it's really tough because obviously a lot of things that they sell pass through Europe, Britain, and also materials coming in, etc. So he said, no, we're all struggling. You know, everyone business-wise is, finding it difficult. So,
And
it's,
they've got quite a high count as well for population, I think.
yeah. But he was saying social distancing wise, they all live quite far apart. People don't congregate in lots of places. I think he was saying it's like in Sweden, I've got this totally wrong, 3 million people live there and it's the size of France.
Yeah.
It must be more than 3 million, 6 million maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. But
Yeah.
it's like Australia, isn't it? Everybody's around the edges. Do you know what I mean? There's whole bunches of Australia and Sweden and Russia with nobody in it. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? So it's crazy, isn't it? And China, in fact.
Yeah.
China live in clumps, don't they? Like the rural bits are not very.
No. And it depends how quickly everyone took it seriously. I think a lot of countries like us were late, just getting their shit together, and these other countries seem to have done things quite a lot quicker than we have.
And the testing seems to be a key. Like, get everybody tested and then go, right, if you've got it, like, isolate everybody around you, and then that's it.
Yeah.
You know what? Nobody's been tested till they've got to hospital, which is kind of too late, if I'm honest. You know what? You don't need the people who need a respirator having it being tested.
Well, testing is going to be the key, isn't it? Because vaccine-wise, that could be that anything could happen there. But if we can test it on it quicker, I could see like having home testing kits that you could do daily, weekly, or whenever. And then if you've got it, you stay at home, you work from home. If you haven't, then you just crack on as normal.
Like blood lorries, when they drive around and they park up on a back of an Arctic and take your blood, don't they?
Yeah.
Like that.
Mm.
I reckon.
I think it would be quicker than that, though, wouldn't it? It'd be more like a pregnancy kit, won't it? Just take a piss on it in the morning.
It takes 3 days, though, doesn't it? You have to send it off. Yeah.
I know. I'm thinking. That's what I'm saying, though. Like hopefully soon the testing will be like.
Oh, right. I'm
much better.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
That's what we need.
Well, that would be ideal. Yeah. Like one of them Thriver things you get through the post, and you go, "Oh crap, it's gone green."
Yeah, or like a
skull and crossbones or something.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Or a drink driving test or something like that. Something you could blow into.
Yeah, that'd be good.
So we spoke a few days ago. I have no idea when we spoke, but one thing that we talked about was, what is everyone doing at this time? What are we doing? What are clients doing? And one thing that came up, I was talking about, and yourself, was a lot of companies now are just working purely on strategy and ideas. Yeah. Given this time, this is a pause period. Loads of work isn't happening. Things aren't moving. So they're just thinking, let's just think of idea generation and strategy. So I know that you've talked to a few people about that, haven't you, and your clients and so on.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's time in a lot of people that now they've settled down after the first couple of weeks, that a lot of companies are expediting kind of innovation or creative or change projects to now when there's more capacity to do them.
Yeah.
And it keeps people busy. Ones that were maybe in the 3 to 5 year plan.
Yeah.
And not super business critical now seem to have come forward. And a lot of other businesses are just realised they had all their eggs in one basket and are trying to think of another basket. Why dealing with everything else? Why dealing with homeschooling and furloughing and losing clients and all the other stuff? So idea generation and just clarity over strategy and planning is front of mind for many.
Yeah. And in planning for all eventualities as well. What happens in 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, times it that by 3. Yeah. And I suppose looking at worst case scenario and everything. I can't. Do you know what? I'm going to totally get this wrong now, but I'm listening to a book at the moment about Ikigai, and it talks about the three different faiths in Japan, and one of them, I don't know if it is Stoicism. It talks about that you plan for every worst eventuality and play it out, and and then so that you then either work to that or work against it, or and actually test it out on yourself and kind of future, test out what would happen if that happened, and kind of play that out. And I suppose that within that helps you kind of look at where can things go wrong, and how can we solve that from happening.
Yeah, I think, you see that whole Japanese mindset of stuff. So I did, I don't know, a few years ago now, I did my Lean Six Sigma qualification up to, and they do it like martial arts. So there's belts, right?
Nice.
And I got up to green belt, which I think
I got to green belt when I actually did karate. It's a
oh,
solid belt to sort of
it's a
land
good,
on.
it's not
Yeah,
bad,
it's
right?
not
It's all
yellow,
right.
it's not orange,
It's not
it's not
yellow.
quite brown or black, but it's
You're
in there
not.
with the blue and the green, and it's a decent
It's a,
color.
it's a decent color, right? I feel comfortable with it. Like anything after that, you have to go on like 3-day residential courses and
Yeah,
stuff like
you
that.
have to
It's a challenge, right?
you actually have to be good.
You actually have to be good. But that whole mindset of lean and ikigai and stuff like that, it's
Yeah.
always about like presence, awareness, continual improvement, letting
Mm,
stuff exist, and being aware of it, right? Just being
yeah.
like living with open kind of open eyes, so you see all the options, whether they're good or bad, like on ideas, whether they're good or bad ideas.
Mm,
People here kill them when they've just been formed, and ideas don't come out fully formed. I've never had an idea and it's been awesome like immediately. Do you know
yeah.
what I mean? There's holes in it when you start digging, and most people kill ideas like as soon as you've said them,
Mm,
right? Which is the wrong time. But Japanese philosophy have a wider, I don't know what the right descriptive term is, but a wider, calmer, more present, more bigger picture kind of mindset
mm,
about it's all right, it's going to continually improve. We've got to try some stuff.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then trying the stuff will continually improve it in the long run.
Yeah. Much,
Yeah,
yeah, and
interesting.
it's a very calm way of looking at, very present way of looking at stuff.
Yeah.
Um, they and reading or listening to this book that I'm listening to at the moment, it talks about in Japan why people live so long. There's but there was no word for retirement, that that you carried on working, you carried on working your garden, growing your own veg, moving, doing yoga, tai chi, all these different things that it's really interesting about. It's just a different way of life in terms of business, and the way spiritually and mentally that how people are going to have to work going forward.
Yeah, it's very mindful. So since
Mm.
this lockdown thing, well, not since the beginning, but I'm on day 24 of a yoga program in the morning, and
Oh, cool.
I am not super flexible guy, right? I'm not normal yoga shape as a
Mm.
guy. Um, but that starting the day with that and a meditation, which I couldn't do really either because my mind didn't shut up. I used to get up, get showered, go to the gym, go to work, travel.
Mm.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like there was no mindfulness in the morning.
No.
And it's like it just wasn't. Just went to work. I didn't mind. It wasn't
Yeah.
bad. I had nothing. I'm not
Yeah.
complaining about it. It's the way I liked it.
Yeah.
But I think mindfulness and giving yourself the time to think about stuff is super important, right?
Yeah.
And that's what we've all got now. I think in a little bit more, maybe.
Yeah.
I've considered stuff more.
I think with it, I think with a lot of people, there's a lot of debundling. I think you said debundling the other day. Business are
Yeah,
debundling. I think people are debundling. Like if you're at home and you're in your four walls, only going out, a couple of times a day or whenever, then you will start delayering yourself about who you are, what you want, what you don't want. All these things are happening to people now. I think that's, and I think doing yoga is great because obviously you're stuck in this house, you're not moving. So I think a lot of people are going back and really thinking about or adjusting to who they are and finding out who they really are as well in these periods. You find out who you really are, which is really interesting.
Yeah, you have time. It's that time thing, like that you have time for that to be for that idea to form, to wonder about that question, where sometimes before you didn't have that. And I think the pace of life has stopped. Even if you've got kids and work from home and homeschooling and stuff, it seems like the pace of life has slowed a little bit. Do you know what I mean? If you look at Parkinson's law, right, which is that law where it says a job will fill the time allotted to it.
Yeah.
Right. So if you gave a task 20 minutes, it'd take 20 minutes. If you gave it 3 hours, it'd take 3 hours. It's like a whole thing about it. A bit like 80-20 rule, if you know what I mean. But I think we've got more time to the allotted tasks because some of the normal work gubbins isn't here. Like travelling.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And travelling and weird meetings and stopping and chatting to people in the kitchen and having and being forced to go for, like, do you know what I mean? There's loads of gubbins that made work up that is not, that's just not here.
Yeah, I like that. There's definitely work gubbins. There's a lot of work gubbins because it's interesting to see how many hours people are working. Would you say you're working more or less now, or how would you percentage it up?
From the time I start a work thing or go to a work thing to arrive back in having finished that task, it's definitely less, because for me personally, like, my house was where I kept my stuff and came to sleep. Like, everything else happened outside of it.
Yeah.
Like, so I had to travel everywhere. I had to, like, I was doing a minimum of hour driving a day. You know, a minimum, a good time.
Yeah.
Probably 3, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
And then that's to normal work stuff and meetings. And then there was just, I've got less tasks to do, if you know what I mean. Now I've got less projects to do, but I don't know. It's in time. It feels less but better. Like, I'm not missing commuting.
No.
And that was something I was struggling with in the first couple of weeks of being at home, going, shit, I can't, like, I've got to live here now. That's a bit weird. But now I'm all right with it. And now there's stuff that I'll not go back to. Like, I do some work with University of Nottingham and the Big House project in Nottinghamshire and Derbyshire, like mentoring and workshops and stuff. And they've all moved online. University of Nottingham aren't moving back offline for the ingenuity and entrepreneurship stuff. They're keeping it all online. Like, it's been a full-time change. And Big House, I don't think, will bother either, because they've delivered the same amount, in fact, more stuff they've delivered for the people, more output for the people of that community.
Yeah.
Like, remotely.
Right.
Which is, you know, in that world, they're judged on output. Do you know what I mean? Because they're funded enterprise training program, and they've delivered more output since coronavirus than they did before.
Yeah. No, it's gonna be amazing to look at what people are going to keep and what's going to go back to normal. And I think we've all learned that I think most businesses can survive quite well and create meaningful work, all working from anywhere they want, really. Most people have got a laptop, a screen, well, a microphone now, things like that. You can just, it's business as usual, isn't it? I suppose the only thing that gets in the way is everything else, I suppose.
I mean, it's the gubbins that has gone, though, right? Do you know what I mean? Like, work.
I love it.
I don't know.
It's such a good word. It's such a good word.
But there's a bunch of gubbins that have been left out, right? People don't need to do all the other stuff. They're just doing the stuff that has an impact, because they've got 2.4 kids in the house and they're at home. So they're not going to work. They're not going to sit at the desk from 8 to 8, because you don't really need to, do you? Not that you needed to anyway, but but they've got rid of all that stuff, and it's much more focused on impact and purpose than activity.
Yeah.
That's why I think we spoke about it, but I think there's roles within organisations, and marketing may be some of those, unfortunately, right? That if you had a team of 3 people on 40 hours a week full-time work in a marketing department, we'll use marketing because we both know marketing, right?
Yeah.
That's 120 hours a week of marketing. That's a fucking lot. I haven't done that much marketing in a month for 20 years.
Yeah.
Like, that's a lot of marketing, isn't it?
It is.
And like, every other company has this. So what are they doing for that time? Makes me wonder, right?
Yeah, you can look at a lot of areas.
Like HR, accountancy.
Yeah.
What are you doing for 40 hours?
So in terms of people working remotely, there is going to be loads and loads. I think we talked about this. Loads of businesses that are actually having meetings and conversations right now, going, do we go back to how we were? Do we stay like this, or do we create something completely new? So it's a remote way of working. Maybe there's an HQ. I don't know, but those conversations are happening now. I can imagine. Well, I suppose you've got clients who are having those conversations.
Definitely, yeah, definitely. I know the full gamut of those. I know there's a mate who runs a design sprint agency, like a design thinking innovation agency I spoke to today. And they moved all their sprints online, like remote online, and they used to do it in person at clients' houses, right? And they've moved it all online, charging the same money. Nobody has to travel anywhere. There's no real interruptions from like the secretary coming in and stuff. Do you know what I mean? It says it's exactly the same. The tools we use are different, and that we've changed the what we do within the sprint a little bit, because some were quite interactive, like get up and put post-it notes on the wall. Like, what's the digital version of that? You only have to ask, right? Or how do we get the same result not being able to do that? And there's and they've gone really successful. They're going, well, if we can get away with it, then we don't have to send a team of 3 people to London and put them up for 3 days.
No.
Right? We can just all do it.
Yeah.
Right? So they're going, well, what do we do with the office? Because they were the most important bits. We don't really need the office. If we're not traveling to clients and clients like set the rules, do we need to even travel at all?
No.
Do you know what I mean? And looking to develop a software stack. And there's people who are, and that's a big shift, right? Because that will save them. I can't remember what their costs were, but their people and office costs, like with all IT and internet and stuff, were a few grand a month.
I think if you can replicate the experience of someone being in a room and having an activity that involves people, but you can replicate that digitally, you're laughing, aren't you? Because I think a lot of people are trying to replicate certain things digitally. And I hate to say this because I've not done it, so I shouldn't comment on it really. But like networking online, so I saw an image of about 40 people on a Zoom call at a networking event. I found networking events hard at the best of times when people are there, like but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's easier when you're at home and you can just be not around people. I have no idea. Maybe I've got that completely wrong. I don't know what you think.
Well, I run Creative Mornings, right?
Yeah.
Which is for people who don't know is a group thing. We get about between 25 and 30 people 8 a.m. on a Friday every month come into the centre of Derby. We just had our first virtual event on Zoom,
right?
And we had 40 people. A good 8 of those were global, like from out of the area. People have come in from out of the area because nobody's coming. God bless them, on a Friday morning, nobody's getting to Derby for 8 a.m. unless you're from Derby, right? It's just not happening. It's just not. There's 2 roads in and they're both terrible, right? It's not happening. right? So we had people from Belfast and Cluj in Romania and
Wow.
San Francisco, all part of our wider Creative Mornings community, all talking about the thing. And they all came in, and we had 3 speakers. But and it was amazing. Like, there was some people
Yeah.
who've come to every event I've had said that was the best one,
Yeah.
right? And
Amazing.
I was like, well, I thought I'd miss it, but I've got a video, a meeting with a guy tomorrow who does a lot of events about online events, weirdly.
Mm.
And there's a new skill that comes at the top of that Maslow's hierarchy, right? And that's the ability to facilitate, right? Facilitation is the new skill that
Yeah.
people need, because leaders need to be able to facilitate work between different people, right, of their teams.
Yeah.
They need to be able to facilitate work. Maybe they've unbundled or not having full-time staff, so they need to be able to facilitate work between different organizations and softwares or
Mm.
outsourcers or freelancers, right? And they need to be able to facilitate experiences. So they need to be able to facilitate employee experience, and you've got to power it up. You've got to power up employee experience when you can't physically touch them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You've got to be really good on facilitation. You can maybe, if you're in the office, just do something nice and silent and ping them a message or leave them a cake on the desk or something without real interaction.
Yeah.
But you can't here. Do you know what I mean? That, like, facilitation is a massive skill. If any of this online remote working stuff sticks,
Yeah.
people have got to get good at facilitation. And that's, in theory, mate, that's marketing, right? It's understanding the reason for your communication, having some empathy, being able to communicate clearly and
Mm.
concisely, right? And doing it with some personality and creativity,
Yeah. Yeah.
because we're not together. So you need to have enough presence that you still feel the energy, you still feel the connection of the person,
Yeah.
right?
It's like management on steroids. It is, all the things that make up a good leader, manager, director. It's all those key strengths that there's things that you can hide when you're in a big company. You can say things, you can do things, you can move, you can swan around and get away with stuff. In this environment, you can't.
No.
You can't get away with not working, and you can't get away of looking at things very, very differently. And facilitation is such a great word that you just said there. How you manage projects, manage people, campaigns, and business as a whole. It's tricky now. It's hard, and I think that's why ideas and strategy are just crucial now. Really, really crucial.
Like, ideas are the kernel of everything, right? Like, I did a video, I think that's why we're talking technically, but I did a video on how there needs to be one idea at the center of everything, because you used to be able to get away with stuff, like, but like
Gubbins.
people, gubbins, right? Like, work was full of gubbins, marketing was definitely full of gubbins.
Meetings
You
were
could
definitely full of gubbins.
Meetings were full of gubbins. Internal comms were full of gubbins, right? You could get away with being super lazy and putting 434 internal comms items into one email a week,
Yeah.
right? You can't be that lazy now. Do you know what I mean? You've got to get rid of you've got to have one idea, one clear purpose for when you're doing anything, when you're communicating with anybody, right? Whether it's leader to leader, leader to team, team to person, to customers, whatever direction that communication, right? It needs to have a clear purpose, because on the hierarchy of communication, right, face to face, human to human, you do get more stuff. You get to read people's body language. There's a different energy people to people. But this is next. But you have to understand that you need to try harder at communication and have more clarity and be able to communicate your ideas more clearly,
Yeah.
because it's not you don't have another opportunity to. It's just that if they're not strong enough, I want to say that they will get lost. It'll just be because you've got this opportunity, right? This opportunity to communicate, and I think you need to be able to think clearly and communicate clearly about whatever it is. And I think I bet emails, good emails, right, are having a renaissance. Because for years before, right, people were championing getting down to inbox zero and subscribing for stuff, using stuff. But email now is an amazing tool. Again, or still, I don't know what the right phrase is, but do you know what I mean? Like, but that you can have a 10-minute Zoom call or Skype meeting or whatever, or video call with a prospect or a leader, and then back it up with a really good email with all the other gubbins on that you need to do, because gubbins has to exist, but it shouldn't exist in this format.
No.
Right? In the person-to-person communication should be super clear. Right? The one with the good ideas, big ideas, short sentences, small words, person to person. All the gubbins you can send by email or stick it in a shared folder for them to read if they need to read it. Do you know what I mean?
It's interesting you say clarity there. I think I do agree. Like, the email is really important now, because things can be lost when you're chatting to each other, in meetings, talking things done. But emails now, it's like you need specific instructions, things that you need to know for the right person at this time, like a good, solid, well thought out email. Because people just got so rubbish with them, not reading them, just reading bits of them, just sending too many of them about rubbish. So solid emails now, it's good. We've refined the gubbins.
Yeah, like we got lazy, man. I think people got kind of lazy because it was easy to do stuff.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And now it's not so easy because we're not all in the room, right? We're not in the same box for 8 hours.
Yeah.
Right. It's not easy. Do you know what I mean? And it's now you have to get good at communication again. Do you know what I mean? Like, we have to get good at it, whether it's this, and it's not technology, right? It's a human creative skill. It's having empathy, having good listening skills, some conversational stuff, understanding checking it, like being a bit more thoughtful about the stuff you're trying to communicate, so it isn't full of gubbins.
Yeah. And the other thing is, it's also become a lot trickier, or is it not become trickier, to pull a sick day? Is it easier or harder? Because obviously I don't work for a big company.
I would imagine harder.
You think?
Because now you don't have to go anywhere. Yeah, you don't have to go into the office. So going, I can't come in today is not a thing. You can't make it to your other bedroom. Is that what you're telling me? Yeah. Or to your kitchen? Do you know, like, and you don't have to be there for 8 hours. It's not like if you're feeling crap, like not very well, but in theory you could do a day's work, right? Doing a 2-hour commute and sitting in an office with other people who you get paid to be with, right, is a much harder challenge than going, do you know what, I'm just going to finish that thing.
Yeah.
It's got to be harder.
Yeah, and also, now you're at home and people obviously Skype, and if you say that you're ill, someone says, prove it. You know what I mean? It gets a bit tricky.
Yeah. Okay.
I can't do it.
You have to put makeup on, bags under your eyes and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. It was a good point that you made about, managers need to think clearer. or no, people need to think clearer. And and I think this, and mentally, obviously, everyone's going through it in some level. If leaders that lead now and lead really well, who just, you could be a junior role at a big company and go, right, this is what we should fucking do. This is what we should do. We should do this here, move that there, do this. And you could actually just leapfrog everyone, because no one's got the answer now. There's no books about this. We're totally in this new future, this dystopian almost time.
Yeah.
That I said to Natalie, we can't, what we can't change, we can't change. There's nothing we can do right now. And the reason why people are worried is because they don't know what their future looks like. Now, if you don't know what the future looks like, I just said to Natalie, well, let's just paint a picture of what a future could look like and just work towards that. Let's just work towards that and think of it that way, rather than just trying to brick in our pants that we don't know what's happening. Just go, right, this is what the next 6 months is going to look like. We're going to be here. We're going to do that. And this is where the business is going to be. And this is what we're going to do. Right. That's what we're working towards. We painted a picture of what our future looked like.
Yeah. And that there's an interesting model in innovation work called horizons, right? And usually they work in 3 horizons. And the first horizon is, what do we do in 90 days? The second horizon is about a year. You can change it, right, into perception of yours. And third horizon is your long-term BHAG, right? Your 10, 15, 20-year goal, whatever you want to put in there. What's happened now is that horizon 1 is what we're doing this week, like, because it might change. You don't really know, that sort of thing. Horizon 2 is now a kind of a month. And horizon 3 is a lot shorter. So what that's brought, going back to your point of anyone can lead, is the creative people, the people looking at future stuff and innovation stuff, the proactive people within an organization are now the point, right? They're the figurehead of the ship, because people are going, oh crap, what do we do now? We need somebody who can think differently. And that doesn't have to be the CEO, right? CEOs might be good finance guys. They might be super operational, right?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But anybody can be the creative lead. Anybody can be the idea generation lead. It doesn't have to be the leader. I think organizations are becoming more linear or circular, maybe, rather than hierarchical. Because I think what this will have done to many organizations is get rid of the hierarchy and put everybody going in the same boat together, right? We're rowing this organizational ship in this direction. We're all in it together. Like everybody's job's at risk. Do you know what I mean? It's that like it's the whole future of work thing has been expedited, right? So the future of work thing was based around kind of imagination and creative skills, like problem solving, opportunity capture, creative thinking, collaboration, experience design, good communication skills, all these skills, right, that were going to be 3, 5, 10 years in advance when automation and digitization catches up with the mass market, right, are all here now, technically. And it's Zoom. It's Zoom and Slack and Basecamp and stuff. And it's but that's been expedited now. So the people who were looking at that in terms of this is how we make money in the digital world are now pointing, right? They're at the point of it. I was speaking to a guy today, really interesting guy, I know, in one of the networking groups, and he runs a software platform that has been spun out or subsidized by a big corporate group, right? But this corporate group was in event and exhibition space for construction, manufacturing, medical tech, that sort of thing, right? So they ran the big global kind of construction fairs where JCB would go and stuff like that. And obviously that's not a thing, right? So this little software thing that they were playing with for a few years is now their key product and have this whole organization pointing at it.
Wow.
Right? And he's going, oh crap, we had like 3 years to build it. And now we're launching with this version of it. Do you know what I mean? And he was like, we just got super lazy, like doing all the UX and UI and super tweaking it before launching because we didn't really have to launch it. Now we have to launch it. Do you know what I mean? And that comes from them having that their innovation managers are now at the forefront of their business. Not all the normal front of line staff.
Yeah.
So it's become circular. They've still got the same job roles, they've still got the same job titles, same package, but their skill set now is at the pointy end, right? The ability to generate ideas and design them and strategize them to be actionable, real life revenue streams to test.
Yeah. You know, talk about like innovation managers and people that come up with ideas. The thing that you know, say in what we do, let's talk about marketing and understanding customers and what the appetite and what they're looking for and how to sell, etc. The thing that you're dealing with here is that you're not just watching a market, an audience, you know, you're watching how society and how this unraveling of the coronavirus is going to pan out. And it's like, it's going to be a moving societal change, whatever that's going to look like over the next weeks, months, years. And then as a marketer, trying to understand a product, where it sits in a market and how to sell it whilst that's going on. It's like you're dealing with multiple market trends and societal, so I can't even say the word, societal kind of change. How the hell you can plan that? Well, that's where people are gonna thrive, aren't they?
It is, right? And it goes right back to the beginning of our conversation with the Ikigai and the Japanese people, right? They've got a different perspective on things or perception. I don't know what one of those. I think they're both very similar, right? But they've got a different perception on what is important in their worldview, like everything. Whereas it's easy for people with specific roles, right? Whether they're in a big organization or whether they're freelancers, right? To get blinkered by this specific role, right? And just go, well, I do. We see it a lot with, say, AdWords specialists or content marketers, right?
Yeah.
You go, okay, right, well, I've got this problem. And they go, yeah, well, this AdWords will do it. And we're like, well, no. Is that it? What else would do it? What do you mean what else? I've got to do AdWords. Do you know what I mean? You need to look round corners you've not looked round before. And that's a mindset issue, and anybody can do it. It doesn't have to be your leader's probably stressing his arse off, right? If you've got capacity to have ideas and look round corners and be curious, right? Be curious about other opportunities, other industries, other target markets, right?
Yeah.
You've got the capacity to do that. That's super valuable, I think, because the people who are responsible for keeping that organization, you know, the ops guy, the CEO, the CFO, right, of keeping it actually in existence, probably aren't doing that.
Yeah.
Because if that was my role, I would be super panicky, like every day.
Oh yeah, it's stressful.
You know, and it's so if you've got the ability to be curious about, curiosity is the, you know, the thing that generates ideas, right? It's the bit before. It's an action you can be. Ask different questions, be a bit more curious, look round corners you've not looked round before, do something different, like poke the box. Do you know what I mean? The tool you're looking for in a new worldview is probably not in the toolbox you've got, or might not be. Do you know what I mean?
That's That is the best thing I've heard.
That and gubbins, right?
Just
Full of it.
poking the box, man. It's poetry, Tim. It really is. It's beautiful.
It's not mine. It's Seth Godin's. Poke the box. He wrote a book called it, but I've always loved that analogy. I love an analogy, me.
Yeah. But no, that is interesting. Like thinking out of the box and poking the box. Just kicking the box. Do you know what I mean? Just setting fire to the box now, because the box is a different kind of box.
Yeah. Just leave the box in the bunker in the garden with all the toilet rolls and do something else for a bit. Like this is the time when you've got permission and time and opportunity to probably try something new.
And this is one of the only opportunities to get out of doing something and doing something new. The fact that, if you get put on furlough or you just contracts get frozen or whatever it is, and you're getting support from the government, then this is never going to be a better time to really look deep inside and think, what do I really want to do? Because this is the time to do it. Anyone could jump ship now. It is the great equalizer in that respect, that whoever you were before, now, you can be someone different. You can do different things, So, yeah.
There was a great question. I've just looked at my phone because I wrote it in my notes because I liked it. What has to be true to fill in the blank, right? Like, people are a good question to ask yourselves to stimulate curiosity. Okay, we need to pivot. Say you need to develop a new digital business model, and there'll be a bunch of people in your organization or in the company going, we can't do that. Like, it's not possible. And you ask yourself, what has to be true so that we have to have a digital business model? And then answer it, right? Answer it. Like, you go, okay, we have to develop a service, not a product, not a service. We have to be able to sell it online. Do you know what I mean? In that case, we need to have a customer support person, right? All these things are putting meats on the bone of an idea. Do you know what I mean? But the idea generation and the idea definition, because ideas are great, but unless you can define them and communicate them clearly, like we said earlier, it's just going to be, Tim said something weird, like gubbins on that video call. What was that about? Like, nobody's going to understand it. So if you can ask or show that you've just thought about it, it's got a bit of depth to the idea. It might not be the right idea, but that's okay, because you haven't killed it. It's not your job to kill it.
No, and I think you just basically reenacted what businesses should be doing, what type of meeting businesses should be doing just about a minute ago, and you just deconstructed the questions about the business. What do we sell? Who do we sell it to? How can we sell it in that way? What would that look like? How would that work? Why? And then you start deconstructing it, and eventually you break it all down and rebuild it, and then the answer will be there. But that is a difficult conversation for some people who depends how the way that you think, and maybe that's not a question. That's not a meeting that they should be in, because I know for me, this period when I spoke to certain people still believe in 3 weeks, life's just going to go back to normal. And I think a lot of people think like that, unfortunately.
Yeah. And do you know what? I think that'll be a shock for some people. I think there'll be a semblance of normality, but I think too much has changed in too short a time for it to fully recover. I think that there's a chasm in stuff that's too big. Do you know what I mean? I think it's expedited people's thinking from nice creative future stuff to, we're doing it now, like remote working. Like, we'll in 2022 we're going to bring in remote working for 4 hours a week. It's now, and it's all the time, right? Do you know what I mean? Like, in the simplest perception. And I'm going, okay, well, we do 99% of our sales and lead generation from this expo every year. There's not going to be an expo again. How are we now going to sell our thing?
Yeah.
because the only reason we like the expo is because everybody who bought from us came to the expo, and now they're not going to do that. There's still the people who's going to buy from us, but we can't market in the same way. We can't communicate in the same way. We can't build relationships in the same way. We can't reach them in the same way. We can't engage them in the same way. We can't think about them in the same way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We can't have our eggs in that basket.
No. So it was I was going back to Creative Mornings then. So I'm sorry for my naivety, but so you said it was the best one you ever had, and the fact that you've got people internationally that are going there and there, and it must be it's not even, it's something new, isn't it? This is a new amazing thing that should have happened a long time ago. Like, why were we not having online networking events and chatting to people? And I'm sure they did exist, but they weren't in my world. But bringing forward that now is beautiful. Then there's going to be so many new ways that we can use technology for incredible things.
Do you know what they were before? They were really crap webinars.
Yeah.
Like, people go, let's do an online event, and it'd be a terrible webinar with somebody wanging through a PowerPoint while eating a sandwich in their pajamas. Right? And now it's not. Like what we were on about earlier about that you have to amp up the human-centeredness of a communication, right?
Yeah.
Keynotes, right? Keynotes and presentations and stuff like that. The best format of that online is to do it like this, right? Like me and you are on a Zoom call, no slides, right? Because if you put slides up, people on the other end like multitask because you're not looking, right? The guy could be doing anything. It could be a recording. Do you know what I mean? On the other end, on the presentation side, what you've got to do is like it's elongated events, right? So you've got to do a lot more of a good launch, a lot more good marketing to get people to come to the event, because the only people who are going to leave their settee or stop homeschooling kids for a bit to come to an event are people who are super interested in this thing you've got to say.
Yeah.
Right. So they've got to know what you're going to tell them. Then you've got to tell them what you said you were going to tell them, and then afterwards you've got to follow up and tell them what you've told them, but put the gubbins in it. Bring the gubbins back afterwards, right? So that's all you've got to do.
Yeah.
Go do some telling them what you're going to tell them is marketing or communications or internal comms. Telling them what you're going to tell them is storytelling, right? It's person to person storytelling.
Yeah.
Like, I understand some points may need proof, or some ideas may be backed up by data and stuff, in which case you can share screens and stuff. But I'm just talking, don't keynote PowerPoint it out.
No.
Do you know what I mean? There has to be some of this. And
Yeah.
then the follow-up is then tell them what you're going to tell them. Put all the detail in, answer the questions that were in the chat thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, be thorough. Put the gubbins in the follow-up. Because then people have got... See, both me and you have spoke at events, right? And I can poll up 10 minutes before my presentation, give the presentation, leave 10 minutes afterwards.
Yeah.
Like, having spoke to the guy who organises it and the guy who gives me a mic. Not that I would do that, like, you know, but in theory you can, right?
Yeah.
And famous people do, like Grant Cardone, Gary Vaynerchuk. They're not hanging around. Do you know what I mean? They're in and out.
So it was quite interesting whilst you were saying that. You know, I was thinking about delivering workshops, because I'm super interested in that. I'm chatting to a few clients now, a few universities, to do more work, more support work, that kind of mentoring, and it's made me think about, like, where we do it, and a conversation I had with Natalie about, like, what does our home office, what will it look like? Because at the moment we've just built this little office. It's in our sort of kitchen area, got stuff going on here, and we're already thinking, like, we're not going to ever go back to a studio, to a design studio. Like, 2/3 of our team didn't work in the office anyway. They all worked all over the show. And it's like, well, then if we haven't got an office then, and it's like, well, the reason why we had an office, because we had to ask to make a decision. Will clients decide whether they go with us by the quality of our office? And we made the decision that the answer is yes. But what we're realizing now is we're not going to have that relationship with clients ever again. Well, most of our clients might not even be in this country anymore. So the way that we work is just complete. I'm just thinking about everything differently. The way that you deliver any kind of service, we're not just using the hardware, but how we deliver it is now going to be really interesting.
I mean, it's what this thing has done is broken the perceptions of what remote work is, what people need to be productive in your workforce, what people you need in your team. Like what we perceive to be true in February, it's not. It is now a bunch of it's not true or has question marks over it. Right, and that perception, like I've been in a similar positions to you of going, okay, right, well, there's only two of us and 2/3 of the team don't work in the office, but we should have an office. Like, and now people are going, well, should we have an office? Do we actually need an office? Like, what are we going to do in it? What's it for?
Yeah.
Yeah,
we went through all our clients, and it was a really just light conversation about who will go back to their offices. And we know people that work, like say we've got a company working recruitment. We were sort of saying that I think at some point they will need to go back because they kind of work in teams and like, but it's a lot of there's bum slapping and things going. I mean, it's all like hitting targets and stuff, which is good. Do you know what I mean? But would you get that in a digital environment, or and I know that some businesses they just want to go back to the way it was because it worked like that. But the question is, can it work outside of that environment?
I would say yes, with the right facilitation skills. Right, you have 5-minute Zoom meetings where you tell the team what you've got on, what you're going to achieve today. Right, in the morning, 20 people go through. I've got these 5 things. These are my 5 things I've got to do today. Yeah. Right, my 5 targets, my 5 people to close, whatever. Especially in a sales environment, right? Because it's proper, like, energy breeds good sales, a la Wolf of Wall Street, right? And you've got to try and recreate that, but it's about, again, clarity and facilitation. If you go, right, every morning at 9 a.m. you've got to be here and you've got to tell me your 5 most important things of the day. Yeah. Right, it's dead easy, takes 10 minutes, right, everybody does that sort of thing, right, and they go through it. If you notice somebody's got some ropey ones on there or the same one for the last few days, then it's your job as the leader or the manager or the facilitator, for a nicer word, because I think manager might be a weird old term now, but so like a facilitator will go to them and go, hey, I noticed these things, let's jump on a quick one-to-one just to make sure you're still feeling all right, because I know you've had these 2 things on your list all week. So you haven't been successful, or you need to try something new, or you've not done it. Either 3, I can help you with any of those things. Do you know what I mean? It's that conversation, because accountability still has to be accountability, but it's delivered differently. The how is maybe different. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
that makes sense. Yeah. But it's that art of facilitation, right? It's that art of empathy. Whereas you've now got to be in that situation, in that sales team situation, you've got to be super vigilant, right, as the facilitator, to notice these things, because in an office with 20 red-tied guys and girls ready to smash the phones, right, the quiet ones might slip out. Like, personality will, the strong people come to the front, right, and might drown the little people out, or the ones trying to hide. It's maybe easier. But if you're a good empathetic facilitator, hiding might be harder. But it's not a punishable thing. It's the job of the leader or the facilitator to create an environment where everybody does the best work, no matter what their environment is.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? It's the role of that, and that takes different skills, right? That's a different mindset.
Yeah. Yeah, mindset. That's good. Like, you know, and you talked about earlier about thinking clearer and mindset, and like now, I just going back to health, you know, and the whole ikigai thing. Health is so important now. You know what I mean? You can't get away with eating bad, drinking bad, sleeping bad. Like now, it's because, you know, everyone's saying at the moment you've got to think of this as a marathon, ultra marathon. You've got to have stamina, and you've got to keep your mind and your body healthy, which is a challenge for everyone, you know, at home. And you know, you talked about meditation, you talked about yoga. Though they were, until very recently, still very, very fluffy things to a lot of people.
Yeah.
And now they're not fluffy anymore. They are, you know, that's medicine right there. That's medicine to help you through this difficult period.
Well, you said it right at the beginning when you were you said about a conversation you had with Natalie about there was something like you can only control the stuff you can control. Like there all of a sudden, including me, right? I am in this boat. There was a bunch of people wanging around in the world thinking everything was kind of under control and in their control. Do you know what I mean? My worldview, there wasn't much in it that was out of my, at least, manageability. But now there's a bunch of stuff I can't control. Like 99%, I can literally control what I do with my body and when I go to bed and eat and stuff. This is all I have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is all I have. And
That's all you need, mate. And that's all you need.
And that's it, right? The rest of the stuff I need to be aware of, and I need to be ready, and I need, you know, to have a worldview where if an opportunity arises, I'm capable and strong and ready enough to capture it.
Yeah.
Right. But the other stuff is all me, right? I need to be strong-minded, strong-willed. I need to have a good routine. I need to, do you know what I mean? And that's not just me, right? That's everybody. Like there's people walking around. We've got a village pond in front of my window, and there's people walking around there. I can see from our front room that like we've lived here for 10 years. I've never seen them walk in their lives. Like but they're taking advantage now because it's the only thing they can do. It's the only thing they're in control of, right?
Yeah.
And I think you've got to control what you can control. And currently your worldview, it's a lot, your horizon one is smaller. Right.
I think the key is, you know, like stay safe. It's got to be like stay well. It's got to be stay healthy and take it easy, and bringing that back, bring the shaka back, which means take it easy, chill, because you've got to chill. Because you know what, I've been watching a few videos. I've seen Grant Cardone on a few videos with what's going on. He doesn't look well, man. He doesn't look well. He looks
tired, right?
the heavyweights. When you've got a portfolio of businesses and you employ loads of staff, all of a sudden you've got a lot of stress. You know, that is a lot of stress, and to change your entrepreneurial mindset, and all of a sudden you're hitting a brick wall. That must be wow, you know, big. So taking it easy is the 3 words.
Well, you've had it down for years, right? I've known you for a couple of years now, and there's always been, I can't remember what it was, but be useful and be kind.
That's the one.
4 words, right? That you've, you know, taught, preached. I don't know, right? Like for ever since I met you, right? And
I'll take preached. I like that. I'll take preached.
Yeah, preach is good, right?
It's big.
And then it's for the last couple of weeks, I've been thinking, like we've discussed all the time. I won't go over it. Like thinking a lot, observing a lot, and be useful, be kind are 2 things super in your control to finish that point, right? And 2 things that are really, really important.
Yeah.
Right. And in order to be useful, to be in a good place where you can be useful and be kind, you need to be happy, healthy, confident. Well, maybe not happy, like, but you know what I mean. Like,
It helps.
you need to have some modicum of calm or ikigai,
Mm. Mm.
right? You need to have that to be useful, be kind, because if you're useful and kind, you will, worst case scenario, you will build and deepen business relationships, right, that will outlast the corona epidemic or
Yeah.
pandemic, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And you will be in a better position for that.
Yeah. I
Because
think how you treat yourself and treat other people in this period is going to resonate for a long, long time. A long, long time.
be
So
useful, be kind, mate. Nail it.
yeah. Yeah. Well, on that note, mate, I'm going to say thank you for having a good chat.
Pleasure. Pleasure, bud. Thank you very much for
We'll
inviting me. Good way to
definitely,
spend an evening.
yeah, whatever it is, Tuesday, I think it is. Yeah,
Tuesday,
Tuesday.
yeah.
But no, we'll do it again soon. We'll do it again soon. We'll.
Sound.
I'm really into just ideas at the moment, just trying to think about stuff in a different way, spin it, deconstruct it, dissect it. Not just in marketing, but in what's going on, or around the world, which is super,
Yeah, man. Stay
super
curious,
amazing.
dude. The more curious you are about everything, the more of that stuff will happen in your brain.
Yeah, and
Like
I
curiosity
just
is the
love
one.
looking around corners, mate. That was my favorite today.
Good.
Just looking around corners is going to be a major skill at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
Good, man. Nice
All
one.
right, it's good to talk. I'll speak to you soon,
All
dude.
right. Speak to you soon. Cheers, buddy.
Bye bye.